guys. Hope everyone is good. The monthly performance review is back. This is something I enjoy doing personally, just in terms of if I am working at a club, this is something I'd like to do. You know, just to each month, just to go through each performances of each player and just analyse where they're at, certain improvements they could make. Obviously more detailed than this, but I enjoy it. But yeah, so let's just get straight into it. Look, and I will be reading the comments. As you watch this, I will be going through the comments of the last video. I've been very busy in the last week, so I apologise. Yeah, the goalkeeper. What a way to start. And this is from the Burnley game onwards. And I was looking at from the Burnley game onwards. Obviously, the Burnley game is a Solomon slip. I'm looking. We've got 2 clean sheets after that. Norwich penalty should have done better for me personally. I spoke to the goalkeeper as well, who also thinks so. Again, the favour's always with the striker in those situations. And then there's a mistake against Sunderland. You have to look at this from a whole. What are they doing for the side in a 90-minute game? Right, it's a performance. It's not a moment. You can't judge this on a moment. You know, it's just not. It doesn't help anyone. It doesn't benefit the side. The moments affect it, but they're not the main part. They're a moment in a game. You have to look at the game. And I did give him a 4 because, you know, in the times he's had to make saves, I actually think he's been better in the last few games with demanding the box, punching it, just doing anything to get rid of it. I actually thought in the Sunderland game was probably his best game in terms of commanding the box. He came out for 2 or 3 and dealt with them in difficult situations. Made a save early on. Obviously, the ball went in afterwards, but that's the reaction of the defenders. He was actually good in that game. But I don't think he's done over. I can't give him higher than a 5 based on what he's done, because there is still 2 moments in them games where I'm thinking this is the moment where the goalkeeper should do better. Right? He's not a guy that's had a lot to do. But when he's had stuff to do, there is still moments in that where I've gone, should have done better. And I think from his standard and the standard of the club, the coaching staff, the goalkeeper coaching staff, and the player himself, the standard should be in this moment and maybe this moment, I probably should have done better. So I give him a 4. It's definitely vast improvements there. I think we can all say that. It's not too high for anyone says it, because there is still things in that Sunderland game which he did well. From a performance review, you're analysing a performance. You can analyse this. You did this. Good. You know what happened. Like I said, I'm more bothered when I'm reviewing a performance of a player, and it's a goalkeeper, for example. I'm more looking at positionally. Are they getting beat at the near post? You know, are they commanding the area right? Stuff like that. As opposed to rating someone purely on a freak mistake. It's just not, you know, it's not how it works in performance review. But I give him a 4. I think it is the lowest here. I'm not sure, it might be, but not great. Darlow, vast improvements, by the way. Vast improvements to be done. Darlow didn't play, so it's not applicable. The defence, these two here, I think Rodon has got the biggest improvement in this. I think he was at a 5 or a 5.5 last time, and he's a 7, and arguably could be higher. If it was the last kind of 3 games, he'd be up there. He'd be massively up there. I think he's been brilliant, just as good as Strout in the last 3 games. Strout did get an 8.5 previously. I now give him an 8. There's just a slight percentage decrease, and it's nothing specific. It's just little things I've noticed in games where I've gone, should have done better there. But a 7 and 8 from our centre-back partnership, because, to be honest, I think they're the key to us this year. Rodon getting back to the level that he was last year was always something that the team needed him to do, because he's very good. And he's getting there, if not there. Again, Sunderland game, I thought he was excellent. I thought he was very good in the Norwich game. Clean sheets before that, them 2 were brilliant. It's definitely a consistency now in our partnership in defence, and that is key. Rodon was a bit iffy in the first few games for his standard, what you expect from him. But for me, the bedrock of this entire team, the foundation of what we're built from, is coming from them too. I think they've been the most consistent, along with one or two others, in the last month or so. And you need to require that. Because even if form isn't up there, as long as the partnership at the back is solid, you know that you don't have to do so much to win games. Now, we can't rely on that. That's a bad team. We have to rely on each person doing their job correctly. But if you know the consistency at the back is there, you know that, there's always something you can get from a game. And that's been it for me. Even when we've been down in games, the little decisions these guys have made up, against Sunderland when we were 1-0 down, where Sunderland had 2 or 3 more shots after that and they were blocked or marked by these two and they made good decisions, good tackles. These are the moments where you're going, oh, thank you. The end of the game where Sunderland were crossing it, putting pressure on, having corners. These two won everything in that block. They are key. The worry for me is the depth, as we've seen. De Bayo hasn't played. Voba still injured. There's only them two. With Ampadu out, there's them two. That's it. But that's it. Which is a worry to me. Of course. But them two have been massive for us this year. Do you guys agree? I just think, especially the last month, the way Rodon's improved to me personally, and Strout's kind of maintained that level for the most part. Consistency is key, and these two are proving that. Let's hope they keep it up. Worry, though, that there's only 2 centre-backs that I can rate in this, to be honest with you. Fullbacks. Byron hasn't played much, so Byron got 5 again. He's come on a little bit, and he's done normal. I can't give him higher than 5. He's not done anything that I've gone, yes. He's just done fine. He's been all right. He's not had huge moments in games. So 5 isn't bad, by the way. 5's average. You've been all right. And it's hard to give higher than that when they've not played a lot of football. Like Schmidt, for example, would be similar. But there's little moments where, I can't remember who it was against, but in one of the last 2 games where we played a little through ball and we should have scored from it. I think it was Aronson. I think it was against Sunderland. Where Aronson, we plays a brilliant ball through to Aronson and we should finish it. Little things like that I'm looking at him going, he's a little different here. Like I said, he reminds me in stylistically, not in terms of level, but stylistically the way he plays football reminds me of Rico Lewis. So when he starts playing for Leeds, everyone starts saying he's like this and this. Remember I said Rico Lewis? Very similar vibe. Very comfortable in position for a fullback, has really good pass range, really smart decision maker. We'll see more from Schmidt, but 5.5, he's come in, he's been all right. He's not touched it too much, he's not had too much minutes, to be fair, but I think he's done good for what he's had to do. He's been at a basis, he's been good, and then he's kind of built on it with some little nice things he's done in there. So give him a 5.5. Junior Firpo, give him an 8.5. I just think he's been absolutely brilliant. Similar the level he was at the start of the season. He's just continued in the vein of consistent fullback. He's been so consistent. Endlessly being part of the attack. In it. Not just part of it though, but being a vital part of it. He's involved in so many goals this season, whether that's goal assists or just been involved in it. He's usually there. Anything on that left side, he is a big part of it usually. I think defensively, just fundamentally, forget the league, forget the level, just his positional play, his awareness, his understanding of when to advance, when to dive in, has improved. And this can be compared, by the way, to at the start of the last championship season when he first came in, where he still had them little nuances where he'd dive into tackles at the wrong time. He'd come off the back line and there'd be spacing behind him, they'd just pass it round him. He's improved that. His decision making is better. He looks more comfortable. He looks fitter. And that is the consistency we need from the defence. Like I said, with Stroud and Rodon earlier, having that foundation is everything. You need that. And we've got that. Very consistent back four all season. With all the changes at the front in the midfield, the back four has remained there and remained consistent and got better. That's the key. They look better from what they did the first month of the season. Much better. And Junior Firpo, again, is a huge part of that. Probably our most consistent performer all season. I'm not going to give him higher than that because there's still moments in games where players, everyone can improve people. This is the key part of it. Everyone can perform better. There's been games where it's been better, games where it's been okay, games where it's been great, but that evens out for me. But yeah, probably our most consistent performer. Jayden Bogle. Fast improvements from Jayden Bogle. What can I say? I think there's vast improvements. I think in that Norwich game, in terms of the aggression and a 1v1 capacity and then channeling that energy to get forward, I think he excelled. I think that was his best game. I think he was the man of match. People saying, I think it was Jayden Bogle. I thought he was excellent. Another player who, look, when he joined Leeds, I've been saying all the time, he's an aggressive defender. He's not improved, by the way. It's the way he plays. Some games, the winger will get the better of him. Some moments in games, the winger will get the better of him. With times in games where he gets better the winger 5 times out of 6. With times in games where the winger gets the better of him 3 times out of 5. He's aggressive. He likes to engage the wingers. He likes to be aggressive in their face. A lot of the time it works, sometimes it doesn't. And when it doesn't, because of how aggressive he is, it looks worse than it actually is. That's him. That's what he's always been. But we're starting to see now, for me, understanding of the role and understanding when he can engage is improving. As he understands the players around him, understands the system more, understands the trigger to go and engage. That's what comes with time and performance and training. That's the key part of it. That's improving. And actually in the final third, got his goal, getting up a bit more. They're starting to use him more. Becoming more involved in the play. Because Jayden Bogle's not been brought in to be a top defender. Junior Firport has not been brought in to be a top defender. Is they what you can improve? Yes. They've been brought in on the ball. They've been brought in to attack, to maintain the ball, to develop the attack. That's why they're here. If you wanted to bring in defensive fullbacks, these are not the ones. So overly being from a performance review perspective, if you're being overly critical of a fullback as a coach or an analyst, if you're being overly critical of a fullback from a defensive perspective, when you know for a fact that that's not their strength, you're doing it wrong. You can be critical to an extent and you can help them improve that area. Of course you can. But being overcritical on a defensive perspective from a fullback, you know that isn't his strength. That's wrong. It's like being overcritical of, someone like Max Vober for not being quick. That's not him. You can help technically or weight or anything to improve these things. Strauch isn't a great finisher. No, he isn't. He's not a great head of the ball. In terms of in our box, you can help improve that. But he's doing his job from what he needs to do in the back 4. Same for the fullbacks. They are in here predominantly for the final third and the middle third, not defensive third. But even in defensive third, I think they've improved and our shape much better. I give an 8.5 and a 7 for Bogle. He's getting up though. I think he got a 4 or 4.5 in the last. So a big improvement from him. Centre midfielders. Where shall I put me? I'll put me here. You can kind of see. So Rothwell's a 6. Tanaka's a 6. Ampadu, Gruev. Thought Ampadu was on the path, trajectory going like that. Gruev's been consistent all season. Ampadu, for his standard as the captain, the last 3 games he played, for me, was much, much better. But this injuries, that doesn't affect the rating, by the way, because it can't. That's not a performance review. That's an availability review, which they'd both be 0. But I just thought he was improving. I thought Ampadu was improving vastly. He was seeing the aggressive side of it. He was setting that tempo. He was actually, watch the games back, passing forward aggressively. Every time he got that ball now, his thought process a lot of the time was, can I go forward? He changed the mentality of it. He's doing less of this slow down stuff. He did it in the right times, not every time. I felt like every time we got the ball, him and maybe Rodon were telling everyone to slow down. Well, now it's selective and it's done in the right moments. And I'm absolutely gutted still that Ampadu's not here. I said as soon as he was injured, people, were suggesting that it's not a bad thing, because we still have thing, but forget what we've got. We've lost him, and he's a key to us. He's our captain. He's the standard setter at the club. Captain is a standard setter at the club. He's still at the club, obviously, but at training every single session, that captain, that chosen captain, is the one that needs to set that standard. If training's not on it, stop it and tell everyone this ain't good enough. Hopefully, Strauch is doing that, but Ampadu is the chosen captain, and you don't have him anymore. But from a performance perspective, he was getting better for me. I think when he came off, the game he came off, I thought it was his best game. He was playing really well. He set that tempo. He gave us that aggression back in the right manner. It was back to his best for me, or very close to it. I give him a 7. Same for Grave as well. I'm talking too much about individuals here. Like Grave was similar. He's just so consistent all season. I don't think he's dropped. I think he's just stayed very good, very consistent all season. Probably him and Firpo are 2 most consistent players in Strauch. So I give him a 7, but obviously gutted with the injuries, absolutely gutted by it. But yeah, let's see if we do what about that. Yeah, the 2 new guys, not a huge sample size to go on. More on Tanaka, less on Rothwell. I think what we're seeing from them 2 is how good they are on the ball. There is clearly a difference in the thinking of them 2. It's natural for them 2 to think to go forward. It's natural for them 2 to want to constantly progress the ball forward, or in that sense, right? Progressively, whatever you want to call it, whatever. As opposed to the other 2. But what the other 2 bring is solidity, a lot more solidity, a lot more industrial solidity. They work their backside off, and they like and enjoy defending. This is the thing I keep speaking about. You can be a good defender, you can be an alright defender, you can be a bad defender, but do you enjoy it? I don't think Rothwell and Tanaka love defending. I think they're all about being on that ball, dominating possession. I think Ampadu and Gruev like that, but I think they quite love a defensive duel, a track, tracking the man, getting a tackle in, intercepting. I think they love it. I don't think Rothwell and Tanaka love it. That ain't what they're about. And you could see that because there's 2 or 3 times, I've not looked back at whose man it was yet, but Bellingham runs off them and has a shot at the edge of the box unmarked 2 or 3 times, and he came from the midfield. There's little nuances. There's times where Tanaka was tracking his man. He fouled once or twice where you just know Ampadu is winning that. But I give them both a 6 because on the ball, in a progressive manner, in the middle and final third, I thought they looked excellent, both of them. Very good. Them forward risky passes through the lines into our number 10, whoever that is, or Nonto in there, or the striker even, or the wingers cutting in. Those forward passes are there. They're there, finally. And it's just about the balance of it, right? That's why, for me, I was gutted when Gruev got injured, after Ampadu, obviously, because that Gruev Tanaka had a mix of that. Now it's overkill, in a sense that you're really defensively not ideal. But you have a lot of forward passes, a lot of forward progression. But that's just the balance of the side for me. And we saw in the games that it has been them 2, we have conceded slightly more chances. Slightly more chances? Is that a thing? I think it is. Anyway, I've said it. No, I don't care. But yeah, a lot more to come from them. And look, at the end of the day, they're the only 2 we've got a senior player. Talk about youth products all you like, but a proven senior player at men's level. They're the only 2 at the club, which is a worry for me. Because as I've always said, I don't mind Charlie Crew being an option, but I don't want him to be the only option. And I don't think he's that defensive player anyway. I think we're massively missing that. We've literally lost 2 defensive players and we brought in 2 more attacking midfielders. Do we need more of a balance there? Whatever we do, hey, done a video on that. But it's a problem for me. If we stick by it, that's fine. But I need that option, just that safe option on the bench that might be needed. That's all it is. But yeah. The attackers, Solomon hasn't played much. He played half the Burnley game. I thought he was good before he got injured. Unlucky with the slip. But yeah, I'll give him a 6 because I thought he was all right. But anyway, the other guys, the guys that have actually played, the front three, the dangerous front three behind the striker. Aaronson, I'd give a 6.5. I don't want to talk too much. I'm going on for a while here. Aaronson, 6.5, which was the exact same as last. I think he's been very similar in terms of level. I do think there's a slight improvement in terms of getting on the ball more and making those decisions. It's been really good for me. Like I said, 6.5 is good, by the way, people. 6.5 is a good score. It's a good score. But the problem with the front three for me has always been all season. It's just the consistency, that final decision. And that usually settles with one of these guys. Aaronson has, a lot of the time, been robbed of 2 or 3 assists. But that final decision at times isn't right. He held onto it a little too much. He's a little hesitant. The shot at Norwich, where it was basically one-on-one, he slows right down and hits the defender in front of him. It was going miles wide, by the way. These little decision makers where you need that cold moment in the final third. We're lacking it. Ramazani as well. Ramazani's been brilliant. As someone that's just come in, he's hit the ground running, he's scored goals, he looks dangerous. Just 2 things I want him to improve. Driving at people 1v1 again. He will do that. I'm confident he'll do that eventually. But from performance review, I'm analysing a winger. Coach said to you, right, analyse a winger. What do you think the winger can improve? You talk to the coaches. Drive at people 1v1 more. That's what we're telling him to do. Get at them. Like Nonto's doing now. Like Aronson's even doing. Like Solomon did. Get at them. Do him 1v1. Don't stop all the time. You don't have to. It's 1v1 with the winger. There's space behind the fullback. Drive him. Get in there. Get at him. Once he does that, them scores will skyrocket. And again, just there's 2 or 3 times in games where he snatched at shots. The wrong option for me. But we know he's cold in front of goal and looks a threat, and the build-up and everything, he looks brilliant. 6.5 will improve. Nonto, he's been our best player for me in the last 4 weeks with Firpo and Strout. In the last 2 games, I think Nonto's found the level that I wanted him to reach. I've been crying out for it. Remember, this is a month review. I don't think he was great in the first 2 games of this month. The last kind of 5-6 games, I don't think he was great. The last 3 games has been excellent. No complaints at all. But that evens out at an 8. Because he's been the player we asked for. I asked for. The player I wanted is there now. The guy to drag us forward. The guy to get us out of problems. Looking at other teams like Koleosho or Ahema, these guys are getting their teams out of tough moments. Asai's, Borja Sainz, for Norwich. Getting their team out of difficult moments. Dragging them. Doing everything. Just getting on with it. Like Rafinha did for Leeds all that time when he got the ball and he thought, I'll do it. Nonto's doing that a bit. But we're not over-reliant on him, which is the key thing for me. The other guys are still doing their bits, but Nonto looks absolutely class. The final 3 strikers, Patrick, again, similar to Byram and Schmidt, came on with Pirro up top. Yeah, I don't know. Patrick just doesn't, his legs just don't, visually just watching, his legs just don't look like they've got a lot in them anymore, I'll be honest with you. I mean, all them injuries will finish you. The fact he's still running, to be honest, is fair play. But yeah, it looked slow, him and Pirro, to be fair, both of them up there together. That's the only sample size we've got in the last month. It looked slow, it didn't look great. He still tried to make the runs, but he's just not got the legs to do it in his mind that he used to. So I give him a 4. Matteo, 7, and Joe Pirro, 7. Matteo Joseph, again, is doing things people are not speaking about. He's not getting the goals, and he needs to improve that, and that's why I can't go higher. He does need to improve that as a striker. You've got to improve that. But you have to have other things around that. I'm talking about finishing. He's getting chances and he's missing, right? Kind of the opposite of Joe Pirro, who's getting chances and taking them. Matteo needs time, and that will develop as he gets older. Like I said, he had that when he was young. He's kind of improved everything else. But maybe he's neglected a little bit that coolness in front of goal. That's something you'll develop with experience, though. But apart from that, it's been really good. He's done everything you need. He works hard. He makes good runs. He holds the ball up well. He links play up. He's got assists this season. He's making right decisions. Very fun. And Pirro's scoring goals, people. He scored 4 in his last 4, I believe, or 4 in his last 5. I believe he's our top goal scorer. There's a lot of his game. I'm not exactly the same as I said at the start of last year. He isn't an ideal system player. Never will be, I don't think. But you can adapt slightly the system you play. You can adapt the way you play to help him out. And if he's getting in, if he's having one moment a game where everyone else is really good and they're dominating, and his job in that game is to score the goal that wins you the match, fine, whatever. He's doing it. He's doing it. He's having one shot and he's scoring. As long as he's doing that, I can't complain. I've said, he's not. Joseph suits the system a lot better. He does. But Daniel Farke wants someone that's just going to finish up there. If we're getting one chance to go ahead early, and it falls to Joe Perreault, based on evidence in the last 3 years in this league, more than likely it's going to go in. If anywhere near that goal, it will go in. That gets you ahead. That gets you a goal you need in a critical moment. There's no wasting chances. It's a goal. It's key. And that's why you went with Perreault for me, and that's why you might stick with him. But we'll talk about it in another video. But give them both a 7. Both been very impressive. Let me know what you guys think about all this. Who do you think's been the best player in the last since the Burnley game? Who's been the worst performer? Who's improved the most? Let me know what you think. I'll see you guys in a bit. Bye.